Hey there, everybody. Welcome to another episode of CAPERS, the Chicago Way. Um, Hello, players. How's everybody?
Good.
Everybody chime in. Everybody good?
Doing good.
Um, we're as we record this, we are a couple weeks out from Gen Con, and everybody is officially in panic mode now. For those people who are, well, just pretty much anybody, I guess. Like, if you're just going to play, you're trying to arrange to like go see this and do that, and all the different stuff you can do. And if you're going there to run and do publishing things or network or schmooze, you're trying to arrange meetings and times to talk to people. And because nobody bothers making any plans 2 months out, everybody waits until like 2 weeks to go. um, Although my game times have been set for a while, and so have Madfish's and Chris's, because you two suckers are running games at Gen Con for me. So thank you. You'll be hearing a you'll be hearing that a
I'm
lot during the convention.
I'm having just major I'm not worthy feels at
Uh,
the moment.
you'll be fine. You'll be good. We're all good. Um, let's see what else. What happened? What happened last week? What? I guess you guys decided to go in and break Giuseppe Sacamano out of the Cook County Courthouse. How'd that go, everybody?
Oh, went great.
Mostly well.
Mostly well.
Mostly.
Only a couple of bad jokers, um, and a handful of uh, successes with clubs. So you got a bunch of complications on there, and I've decided some of those I turned into immediate complications and issues, and some of those I used to kind of ramp up to what we're about to start with. But let's see, big takeaways from last week. You kind of worked your way in there. It was a lot of faking your way through, using credentials of like stolen credentials, basically, of FBI agents that you got through a contact that you have in the bureau. A lot of talk, a lot of just getting, bamboozling your way past people. A whole bunch of Satroka having to find ways to sneak around the place in smoky form and in liquid form, because she just doesn't like to be in physical form where she can get hit and hurt and beat up. So there was a lot of flying around and dripping around. And let's see, Rose was reunited with Giuseppe, who she, as a reminder to people, she knows from long time ago, when she got her first taste of the gangster life, and he made an impression on her, and they've been reunited recently. The group of you also learned that, well, let's see, cover real quickly. Giuseppe was in there because the Capone warehouse got busted. It sounds like, at least in part, because of something Kieran was involved in. And as it turns out, it was revealed also while you were at the courthouse that the Ice Queen, the woman Lizzie, who was shooting cold beams at the warehouse, turns out she's got a badge. She was
You made me bleed my own blood.
she was apparently undercover, so she may have had a hand in all of that as well. And as the group managed to just kind of get Giuseppe out of holding and get Rose and him reunited and get out just before they got out the door, she spotted them, called for help. Everybody ran like a motherfucker. And out onto the street, and the group is on their way to to a car that was a Model T that was borrowed, not stolen this time, not procured by some other means. It was borrowed from one of Ollie's stevedore friends. You might end up owing this friend a new car,
Entirely likely.
depending on how the bullets go. As you are evading capture. And I believe, as it turns out, we had the two fellas were out, and Giuseppe were out to the car.
Yeah, we made it to the car.
and Rose was halfway across the street, and Satroka had just gotten out the door. And had ducked behind a vehicle and returned to regular person form for the first time in, most of the game session. And
Hey, I don't have a lot of hit points.
that's understand. That's fine. And I get it. Let's see. Where does that put us? That puts us at initiative for this. So I think we're going to go have everybody make an agility sense reaction check. Remember, that's one card. Flip it, add your agility score, and +1 if you have the sense skill.
So I got a 7 because I now have the sense skill. And my agility is now 3.
Oh, there we go. That's nice.
Oh no. Oh no.
I'm splitting the bad guys. I'm splitting the adversaries on 2 cards.
I think we're the bad guys.
It's a gangster game. Everybody's the bad guys. Although in this case, it's actually they're the good guys, yeah, because they're the cops. So let's see. Looks like.
Well, I got an 8, so.
Your wheelman's at the bottom of the stack here.
That's rough. Okay, so who? What's everybody got adjusted?
12.
8.
7.
7.
Satroka with the 12, 8. Rose. Cops. And then the 2 of you with your 7s. Who goes first?
It's probably going to be beneficial for me to go as early as possible.
Yeah, I think it would be you.
And then Kieran at the end. So that's the plan for now. We'll see if that gets changed up. Okay, so with this, we are utilizing vehicle chase rules, which we've not seen in the game before. And in fact, this is something that is what we're doing right now is part of the playtest for CAPERS Covert, which has been, these rules have been playtested by a number of people, a number of groups, but we are going to go ahead and people can dump their cards, and we're going to try them out. The way it works is a couple of things. Ollie is going to be driving, and you get to start with a series of a number of chase points. And you gain chase points based on having certain traits at a high enough level and having certain skills that your character knows. So like all the traits and skills that really help to drive in a chase. So how many chase points do you have?
I get 3. I have an agility of 3, so I get 1 for that. I have the conveyance skill and I have the sense skill. Okay.
And then I do the same thing for my driver, but I'm not going to tell you what he's got. And then
Seems a bit one-sided.
What?
Said it seems a bit one-sided.
Yeah, well, that's what you. That's how it goes when you're the GM. It's pretty sweet. You guys should try it sometime. And then we got you've got a vehicle. Did you take a look at the vehicle information?
I did.
We're gonna call your car.
Sedan or coupe?
Yeah, sedan or coupe, either one. They're basically the same. A sedan. It's a big enough car to fit fit 4 people in it.
Yeah.
Not like a little sporty coupe kind of thing. So it's the equivalent of a sedan. It's a 4 to 6 person vehicle. And what you've got a pace score which is 15, and your drain is suit +1, and you've got 2 points of maneuver. And we'll explain some of that as we go along when we do it. But basically, think of pace like your vehicle's hit points. We're just calling it something different because it's not strictly physical damage that the vehicle's taking. It's partly physical damage, but it's also partly the vehicle's capability at staying in a chase. It's what allows the faster and more maneuverable a vehicle is, the better its pace. Big, slow, cumbersome vehicles have a harder time getting away, and therefore also have a harder time pulling cool maneuvers and stuff. So their pace tends to be lower. And then your drain is what works out as your quote unquote chase damage. It's not damage in that sense because again, it's not physical damage, but the drain will reduce the other vehicle's pace. And whichever vehicle drops to 0 pace first is effectively out of the chase. So, and that's all dependent upon the narrative. So if the vehicle being chased drops to 0 pace, it might crash or skid to a halt or get trapped in an alleyway that it can't get out of, or the other car might cut it off or something. And if the vehicle that's doing the pursuing drops to 0 chase, then that means the vehicle fleeing managed to lose them, or the pursuing vehicle perhaps crashed or got turned around or something where it couldn't continue the chase. So it's all very narrative and cinematic. It's not quite so. I mean, there's numbers to be crunched, but it's intended to be narrative. And the driver will make various checks in order to deal drain, and so he'll be making checks against a normal target score, and whatever his suit is will determine the drain. Just like when you're using a weapon, that is based on suit. Like if you have a gun or a power that uses suit, you're using the suit to determine damage. So it works the same way for the vehicle's drain. And then we'll deal with the maneuver score when that comes into play. Ollie, do you want to spend any of your chase points on pace?
No.
Okay. He has the option of translating those any number of chase points 1 for 1 into additional pace. The chase points are intended to allow the driver's ability to influence the race. So he could actually give his car more pace. But he's going to save it for the other things that he can do with chase points. And we're going to be at the top of the order here.
Have I started the car yet? Is this round of stuff going to affect my my pace potentially?
Well, your pace is 15. I mean, it's don't think.
I mean, like, are they going to be attacking my car this round?
We're gonna.
We'll figure it out.
We'll keep it kind of cinematic, and we'll see because you're kind of getting started last. So, the driver actually, well, the goons. I've got the goons, and I'm calling them the cops. That's like the tougher ones. Are the goons are going first. So they run out. We've got basically there's 5 cops that are coming out, and one of them's got a vehicle that they're starting up, and the other ones are kind of one of them's jumping into the car with them, and then the other ones are like seeing what's going on, getting orders from Liz from the Ice Queen, and starting to figure out what to do. One of them takes a pot shot, and we're going to say at Satroka, because she's right there. And that's going to hit probably, right, Jack? I'm going to stay with that.
Where's my... Yes.
What's your body score? Yeah.
10.
And that's a pistol, so that's going to do... and it's spade, so that's a boon. I'm going to deal 5 hits to Satroka. And
Ow.
yeah, and I'm gonna use the boon to hobble her. You're not gonna be able to move from your spot this turn.
Okay.
The Moxie?
Reduce damage?
You can do that. You could spend Moxie to reduce some damage.
I only have 3. I'm gonna hold on to it for right now.
Okay.
So that's 5. Okay.
And it's Satroka's turn. Everybody else is at this point. Kind of everybody else is shouting orders, and and I've got the cops split across 2 different initiative scores.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to think. She can't move, not in this form. So I guess I tried to be in normal human form, but no. The second I get into normal human form, everybody shoots me. So I'm gonna turn into smoke again. And just beeline the car.
You can't move.
I can't move at all?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, basically I used the boon to essentially like
Yeah.
you've gotten reeled around and like you know, out of nowhere somebody's shooting at you and you panic and you kind of, you know, dive behind the car a little bit and you
Okay.
neglect running for a round.
Sorry. I thought that had an effect on my body, but it doesn't. Okay. I don't really have much I can do at this point. I don't really want. I don't.
Do you have nothing to do at range?
Don't you have like a pistol?
Oh, I did get a. Why didn't I put it on my sheet? I thought I said didn't I say I went and bought a pistol?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, I thought you had one.
Yeah, there's no way in hell you people are going into the cop shop without guns.
Yeah, it's not on my sheet.
I'll buy you having a pistol.
All right, I will fire back at whoever shot me.
Okay.
Who hurt me?
One of the
Don't
goons.
Don't.
That is what's it called?
Agility
Come on,
guns.
words. Agility, yes. Ooh, Queen of Diamonds, that's pretty good. I think I'll just stay there. And hope that worked.
Yeah, that'll get him with a pistol. That's gonna do 3.
Alright.
I'm gonna go ahead and prevent all of that.
Fun.
Gonna spend 2 moxie to take another action.
No.
Okay, then it's Rose's turn. I should stop taunting you.
Well, Rose is gonna look towards Citroka and be like, "Come on, hurry up!"
Just stamping her foot, waving at her. Come on!
She's still holding the action she had last game, waiting for the lovely Ice Queen to shoot an ice bolt at her so she can use her new gun.
Spurting blood out of my leg.
Okay. Okay, so you're just hanging on to that action?
Yep.
Okay. The cops' turn. One of them. One of them launches. Well, yeah. Let's start with. Let's start with the Ice Queen. That'll be easy because I know you're waiting for that. So the Ice Queen's going to go to take a shot, but you are waiting to do something, so you're going to interrupt that. She's taking a shot at you now with the ice beam.
Cool. I'm gonna pull out my lovely new gun and shoot her back.
And you're going to go pew pew.
Yep.
All right. That'll be the powers rank. I believe you got 2 in the gun.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a piece of trem gear, so it's effectively like power in an object. So it functions with the powers rules.
So that means I draw twice, if I remember correctly, right?
Well, you draw once, and then do you want to stick with the 8 of clubs?
No. I want to spend the Moxie to draw again.
You don't have to spend a moxie. You've got 2 cards to flip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you flipped 8. Yeah, it's just like a trait check where you have 2 cards. So now you've got a 9 of spades. Now a 9, like just as, and this is helpful for the people who are kind of learning the game and watching this too. Basically, a target score of 8 will hit like your slowest human. A 9 will hit like an average human that doesn't have any powers that boosts their body score up at all.
Well, I doubt she has any powers that boost her body score, so I'm gonna stick with that.
You're gonna hope so, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna hope so and see if I'm wrong.
Okay, yeah, you get her with a 9 of spades, and that's what kind of damage do you do with that gun? Just like a straight up power damage, right? You didn't use any boosts, or do you have a boost since because it's a piece of trem gear? You've got a boost permanently applied.
Yeah, and that's the damage boost I have on this one.
So it is damage. Okay, so that's gonna do. Oh, suit +2, and it's a boon. So where do you want to put that boon?
Against melting whatever ice bolt she's shooting at me.
Well, she missed you with the ice. Well, she hasn't shot the ice bolt yet. Are you shooting her, or are you shooting the ice bolt? Because that's a whole different target number.
All right, well, I'll shoot her.
A 9 will get her. So you're dealing suit +2 because you've got the damage boost applied to it. So that's and a spades is a 4. So that's a 6. That's 6 points, but you've got a boon. So are you putting the boon into damage or doing something else with the boon?
I'll use the boon to set her a bit on flame.
Set her on fire. Okay. She'll have to spend part of her movement putting that out, so that'll slow her down at the very least. That's gonna deal 6. I'm going to, and I already started to. I started to flip a card for her, and I did it accidentally. Other people can't see it, but I can see it. I'm going to use a blind flip because it's only fair, and she's gonna spend a moxie to reduce 2 of that damage. So she's gonna take a little bit of damage, take 4, and now she's burning.
I'm guessing it was a flame gun then.
Yeah, she just pulled out a gun and shot fire.
Okay.
An ivory pistol of heat.
And Liz is going to shoot a cold beam at Rose. Rose, someone is shooting a power at you.
Yes.
What does that mean for your character? Unless I'm mistaken. Come on, you finally get to use it. You've managed to not be the target of a power thus far.
You mean power resistant?
Power resistant. Which is why she can't have powers. Because she is resistant to them in all forms. So I need you, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you need to flip a card, and my target score is going to be the normal target score or whatever card you flip, whichever is higher.
Yeah.
So I've got to hit a jack.
That's definitely higher than what I have. So.
Let's see. She's using. Yeah, I don't have as many cards because she's boosted. Ow! Well, the king is going to just get you, and I'm going to stick with it, even though it's going to come with a complication. So that's only going to deal. She was boosted for damage, so that's going to deal 3. But he's going to suffer a complication, and I'm going to say that she's in the middle. Like she is just kind of flipped out by having fire shot at her, so she's afraid, and it's going to cause her to suffer disadvantage on her checks next round as she kind of recovers from the idea that someone is shooting fire at her.
Well, she shot ice at Citroka, so fire.
Yeah, she wasn't expecting that. The other fella, okay, yeah, you took your damage. The other fella, the other cop, takes a look across the street to the people that are running to the car and realizes what's about to happen there, and he holds out his hands and launches just a wave of force that emanates from one of his hands right toward Kieran. We're going to say that Ollie's already gotten into the driver's seat to get going. Is a 10 going to get you, Ollie? Or Kieran?
Yeah.
Good, because that's the last card I got. And that's going to deal 2 points. As he hits you with a burst of just force energy.
I'll take it.
And then it's Ollie's turn.
Yes, it is.
Now we go. Ollie's in the driver's seat. Ollie just gets in the car, hits the gas, and just drives away. Right, like leaves everybody behind.
Not quite. So did Kieran make it to the car? Is he in the car with me yet?
He's right there. I mean, he's like, he can grab the car. If you drive past him, he'll just grab it and just get hauled up into the car as you go. Giuseppe's in the car with you.
Can I see the girls from here?
Sure, they're right there.
Okay. Are they like near each other?
They're not locked arms, but they're.
No, I mean, are they close enough that like I can do a drive-by and they can hop in?
Yes.
Okay. Then.
I mean, basically, you can pull the car, get turned around, pick up everybody except for Satroka, and kind of get to Satroka in the process of getting turned around. And you'll be moving at the time, so Satroka will have to jump in.
Is Satroka still in smoke form? No, you're not in smoke form. Okay.
But her movement is also, like she still functions by the rules of physics, so to speak, which is to say she moves along a surface. So, like, she can smoke jump, I guess. Like, she can move into the car as you are moving past her, and then she is now in the car. Even though she's technically floating in air, she's now in the car, and she travels with the car, just like a person would.
Well, let me ask you this. If I use a chase point to pull a stunt, can I pick everybody up and then kind of like have them open the door and tail whip and catch her in the car like a crazy ass Fast and Furious thing?
Sure.
Cool. That'll get everybody in one round.
Well, and the stunt's ultimate result is if you're successful on the check, you deal additional pace or additional drain to the other vehicle. So yeah. But in the process, like basically what it boils down to is you swing around, like scoop her up into good Lord, you scoop her up into the Model T, Fast and the Furious style, and kind of peel out of there a little bit faster than they were expecting to, which is basically, gives you an advantage in the chase.
Okay.
If you make your check.
Well then, I'm going to turn around to Kieran and Giuseppe, and I'm going to shout, "Hold on to your asses, here we go!" And I'm going to step on the gas, and I'm making my agility conveyances check.
So he's got a multiple different driving type checks that he can default to, and one of them is agility conveyances to just maneuver the vehicle. And that's the one that goes along with stunts.
Exactly. So I am going to now. If I do a stunt, am I down a card to pull? I don't
spend
think
a chase. No, you spend a chase point, and you make your check at disadvantage.
Okay.
Because stunts are tough.
Okay, that's what I thought. So I would generally have 4 cards to pull because I have 3 agility and 1 conveyance. So now I only get 3 because I'm pulling a stunt. So I'll stick with the Ace of Hearts. I only needed 1.
Okay. You peel out, grab Kieran. Oh, you go describe it for me. What did you do? Tokyo Drift guy?
When I shouted to Kieran, I'm assuming he was close enough to like grab onto the sideboard and like stand on the little platform on the side.
Yeah, that's the sideboard. Yep.
Yep, sideboard. And then I peel off with him kind of hanging off the car, and he is there to hopefully help Rose up onto the car as we drive past, so I don't really have to slow down much.
Kind of the same deal.
And I shout to Giuseppe in the back seat, "Pop open the back door." I spin the wheel around and scoop Satroka up. Kicks out her knees from under her, and she rolls into the back seat. And we take off.
And you
Fly.
deal 3, 4, 5, and that's a stunt. You deal like 7.
Nice.
And there's
Perfect timing.
yeah. Hello, sirens. Yeah, you deal a crap ton of drain with that because it was a stunt. So that gets everybody kind of on the road and heading out. Kieran.
The first thing I do as I pick up Rose, I look at her and I say, "Where do you get such wonderful toys?"
Well, this one was handmade.
You'll have to introduce me to whoever you got it from.
Oh, but you've already met her.
I will go ahead
Flirting as the wind whips by.
and use my movement to try to get us both into the actual vehicle as opposed to just hanging off the side of it.
Sure, that's easy enough.
Has the other car started chasing us now, or are they still just kind of
it's only
left in our dust?
it's only a matter of time, but I mean you're like 30 feet from the other car
Okay.
at this point. I mean he's just done this whole little maneuver where he got you, turned around, got the 2 gals. Starting from a dead stop, he didn't move terribly far.
Okay. Can I see the other driver?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question then in regards to my power
Mm-hmm.
and how it will apply to the chase. So what I want to do is I want to use my hypnosis to implant a command in him to where the first street he passes, he's going to take a hard right.
Implant a command.
That is one of my powers, one of my boosts for hypnosis is post-hypnotic boost, which I can create a post-hypnotic suggestion by defining a trigger and an action for the target. Once awoken, if the trigger happens, the target performs the action. The target will not undertake any action that would jeopardize their life or the lives of those they love with this action. So essentially, all I'm trying to do, I know this is not going to stop him. I'm just trying to get us as much distance as possible.
Well, this is one of those things that, for the purposes of the chase, is other characters can deal incidental drain essentially. So you could you do a thing like that where you force him to make that turn. So you guys continue straight. He makes this turn, and he's followed your command. I knock a point or two of pace off. Then he either turns around or goes around the block and intercepts you, and the chase really continues. But you do kind of flummox him for a bit.
Okay.
And if that was the last pace that was drained off, then that you effectively
right
kind of end the chase, and you fool him into not chasing you any further.
Okay, so it's only going to deal incidental chase damage then, basically.
Yeah, it's going to be very minor. Yeah, I mean it'll deal a point or two maybe.
Okay. Can I target the ice lady then?
You can.
Okay. Same thing. I'm going to use a post-hypnotic boost. So let me see if I am successful. Hers is just going to be when you would go to shoot one of the people in the other car, instead just aim at the ground.
You need. I'm gonna rule that you need a trigger. The trigger needs to be something external to her.
External to her. Okay.
We're gonna try to play with that ability a little bit. Otherwise, it becomes like if the trigger becomes like. If it's something that she does, then the trigger becomes the next time you breathe.
Okay, so
and then we start to break the then we start to break the power where you say the next time you take a breath in, do this, and it just becomes a mind control power.
Okay, so it needs to be something that actually happens to her.
Yeah,
as opposed to
it's something that triggers her to
Okay.
do that. But we're gonna make that something that's external to her. Do you follow where I'm going
Okay,
with
yeah.
that? Like,
No, I got it.
okay.
Yep, I got it. Okay, I have the post-hypnotic boost then.
Okay, and so you're doing this all in one round, so you're down a card because of the boost this turn
Yes. Yes.
to do the hypnosis in the first place.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's see if I can. Do you want me to tell you what I want the boost to be first?
Let's see if you're successful.
Okay.
And then you can save it for a
That's true.
surprise.
That's true.
If
I might not.
if you fail, you can save it for a surprise next time.
Okay. Ace of Hearts.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Let me see. Nice. I'm trying to think if this action would constitute a jeopardy of her life or not.
You can always try it and find out.
Okay. So, you know what? I'm gonna play it safe though. The next time someone tries to attack her, I'll make it a little more general. The next time someone tries to attack her, she is going to hide under the seat.
Okay. Okay. So she has to be fairly certain that she's being aimed at, basically.
Yes.
Not that it's just like,
Not
something's
just general,
something's
like,
getting
stuff
sprayed
going by
back
her,
there.
no.
Gotcha.
When she is certain someone is trying to harm her with a power or just
Gotcha.
trying to hit her, then she'll dive under the nearest seat, or
Well, she'll slink down. I mean, there's not really anything to
Yeah.
dive on. But I gotcha.
Yeah,
I
that's
gotcha.
what
All right. The goons are going to take pot shots at. Are you guys all in the car? Properly at this point, so that basically now this means you've all got some amount of cover from the side of the car. So every shot, now keep in this mind, this works for all of you now too. When you're taking shots at people, powers or guns or whatever, you're at disadvantage on anybody that you're shooting at inside of a car because they've got some amount of cover. So you're down one card for basically any attack like that. And we've got two goons who are going to take shots at Kieran. Well, Rose. Yeah, Kieran and Rose, because Rose has got a fire gun. So Rose first.
All right.
Hey, Rose. How do you feel about this is just a gun, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points all.
Now they're in the car. Does this not deal drain?
No, this is attacking the person. They are shooting Rose.
Okay.
This
He's
is
shooting at me.
Yeah.
Well, I don't feel too good about that, so I'm gonna try and reduce damage.
okay. Flip a card. Black you reduce 4, red you reduce 2.
Well, I guess I'm reducing 4.
So you reduce so you only take 2.
Good. Lovely.
You can spend more if you want. That's the
Nope.
reducing damage is the one Moxie use that you can spend as much as you want in a turn. If you want to reduce as much as possible, you can. Okay, the other driver is going to shoot at Kieran. That's going to be the same deal. That's going to not with the boon though. That's going to be 4. King's going to get you.
Yeah, I'm gonna spend some moxie to reduce that. And that's black, so that's gonna reduce.
It's going to reduce all of it.
By 4. All right, nice.
And then the driver is going to attempt. Let's see, what's the driver going to try to do? You turned around on him and now are kind of heading the other way. So he's got to start up, get turned around, and come after you. but you kind of got the jump on him, so he's going to try to get caught up by paying attention. This is one of the checks that he can make, is to do a perception sense check, which is he'll be driving kind of normally, but he'll be using the terrain to his advantage. So he's looking for like places to weave and shotgun. Like he could go up on the sidewalk or down an alleyway or all that kind of stuff, where he's looking specifically for a way to use the terrain. And a jack will do it, actually. Let's, and he's sticking on that. So that's going to deal, he's doing suit plus 2, or suit plus 1, just like you. So that's going to deal 3 drain from the driver. And then it's Choka's turn. And now you're in a car and speeding through the streets of Chicago in a Model T at like 15 miles an hour. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, we're probably going at least 25.
Well, you're getting there.
I'm gonna try my. I guess I can. I'm gonna lean out the window a bit, maybe, and shoot with my pistol.
Sure. You can try power stuff too. I don't want to your smoke and liquid form thing kind of might not be the best.
Yeah, it doesn't really do anything.
Unless you want to jump into the other car, the pursuing car. Those types of things can happen. If you want to get super cinematic.
Ooh,
but you're
always with the clubs. Oh, god damn it! How much agility do I have? I have 3 agility. God damn it. Okay.
You're at disadvantage.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I couldn't even pull that last card, so I'm stuck on the queen of.
Yeah, you would
clubs.
have had to stick on that. I'll let you sit with that.
I'm sticking.
Okay.
That's all I got.
That's a pistol, so that's going to do 2. Who were you shooting at?
Whoever.
Whoever?
I mean, she's not, much of a shooter, so she's just kind of vaguely aiming in the car's general direction.
Well, I do need you to pick somebody.
Probably the driver.
The driver, you're going to miss the driver outright entirely.
Okay.
You're going to deal. You're going to basically you're going to bounce here. Just for an explanation for people too, because the rule set is built in such a way that, and I'll let you make a different decision if you want to. The rule set is built in such a way that I wanted to avoid the idea that, we all jump in a car and we have a chase scene and everybody shoots the driver, and that's how every chase scene ends. So the rule system is set up such that the driver is actively dodging, like he's doing this thing, back behind the vehicle. He's swerving the vehicle. He's doing everything he can to keep himself from being hit. It's not helping everybody else in the car necessarily, but he's keeping himself from being hit. So when you can attack the driver, but we reduce the damage a significant amount.
Extremely, yeah.
You can attack the car too.
Yeah, okay, then I'll just shoot the car.
Same deal. He's going to maneuver in such a way that you are going to do minimal damage.
Okay, so if I aimed for just like the person in the passenger,
you could potentially try to shoot out a tire, and what'll happen is you might damage the tire in such a way that does, again, like an incidental amount of pace.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. The other people in the shooters and all the other people are never going to do as much as the driver does. The driver, this rule set is built for the driver to really shine. But you can do something, or you can shoot at people so that you're not getting shot at more.
Yeah, exactly.
It's up to you.
Yeah, I'll shoot at the tire.
Shooting at the tire. So you're going to deal a little bit of pace.
Should we explain the mechanic of that damage? That it's -3 from whatever the damage is.
Yeah, it's -3 for the record. It's like, so yeah. I mean, if you got spades, if you were shooting a pistol and you got hearts or spades, you're only going to be doing 1 or 2 points of damage instead of 4 or 5. If you were to hit the driver, you follow?
Yeah.
Yeah, and which also means that, like, any of your really weak, like a knife, you can't even hurt a car with a knife.
No.
You can't get at a driver with a knife. Like, because you're only doing color +1 damage, so you're never gonna, unless you get a boon, you're not gonna do well enough to actually hurt anything. The intention is for for the chase to be kind of interesting and exciting unto itself, and not just be, well, murder the driver as quickly as possible. Otherwise, because
And then
well,
done.
because if that's how it was, then all of my bad guys would be shooting at Ollie right now,
Yeah.
and
No,
I'd just murder Ollie as quickly as possible, which is a goal of this
take a while.
campaign. It is a goal of this campaign.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while.
But Owen keeps taking all that improved resilience and has 1 billion hits.
And I'm Wolverine.
Yeah, and you heal like crazy. So anyway, where were we? That was Troka. So Troka did a little bit of tire damage. Rose, sorry it's taken so long. This is the first chase, so it's going to be a little slow with people who
That's
are new
fine.
to the system.
That's fine.
What do you got, Rose?
Well, I'm guessing that Kieran is beside me, so I'm gonna reach over Kieran and try to shoot at the tires with my new fire gun.
Okay.
Gives a whole new meaning to burning rubber.
Wah, wah.
Well, apparently that worked.
That allows you to do a little bit. But you also get another action because of it. That's your good Joker for the round, or for the sequence, for the encounter. That's the word I was looking for. Got something else up your sleeve?
Besides shooting at the tires with fire, maybe attempt to scorch the ground in front of it. I don't know.
You could shoot a person who's shooting at us.
With fire?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean you can shoot at the other people.
No
You can,
tires.
yeah, you can shoot at the other people. You can, I mean, you could try to do something like if you laid, like, you know, there's all the other rules are still kind of there too. Like you could lay like a gout of flame across the front of that other car and freak the driver out, and I'd probably end up, you know, I'd like, you know, he would suffer disadvantage, or maybe I would certain types of checks I wouldn't attempt to make. I would have him do certain things that were reactionary to specifically that. You could kind of force him into trying to maneuver to avoid the flame, rather than taking one of the other actions that I would like to have him take. You know what I mean?
Well, then I'll do that, except upon the road.
So you're gonna lay a gout of flame right across the
Yeah, right across the road. Just
right
behind
in
us.
front of him, and everybody's gonna now at this point you've got quite the audience too. Go ahead and make your let's have you do an actual shot for that. This is not at disadvantage because you're not shooting at a person inside the vehicle. So you've got 2 cards for that, just to see how well you do it. Because yeah, hearts is a solid. It's not a boon. You could flip another card to try to get a boon, maybe get a greater effect out of what you're doing. But you've got quite an audience with everybody.
And then I'm
A lot of people on the street are like, oh, you know, a lot of people are diving out of the way, but a lot of people are going, holy crap, because there's just fire and ice and all this stuff flying around. So you were called back to that?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's going to screw with the driver on his turn. I got to make a note. Remind me when I get back around to the driver again that I don't forget that he's got fire in front of him. Because it'll be a couple of people before I get to him. So it's going to be the cop's turn.
Now, Craig, are all these cops in one car, or am I being chased by multiple vehicles?
They're all in one vehicle. We're keeping it simple for the first one here. Lizzie, the Ice Queen, shoots her cold beam. Actually, she doesn't shoot her cold beam. Hold on, let me double check something. Well, she still might, but I gotta see something.
Too bad we're not running from the Keystone.
Because
Cops.
once again, I'm not sure. I gotta double check the cold beam. Oh, it is instead of standard effect. Okay, so rather than shooting, she lays a slick of ice on the pavement right in front of you. With her and so that doesn't require her to make a check at all, so I get out of that disadvantage thing that she was suffering. She just gets that effect. She goes, and puts an ice slick in front of you. Kieran, what was the deal? Remind me what was.
It's when someone shoots at her.
Someone shoots at her. Right. Okay, so that's
Someone
not
has to shoot at her.
not her turn. And then the concussion beam guy, is gonna shoot at the vehicle, not intending to damage it. And we're gonna let's workshop this. Vehicles big, easy to hit. Target score 8, but it's moving. Call it a target score 10 to hit your vehicle.
Sure.
Seem reasonable?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
He shoots a concussion beam.
That ain't gonna do it.
No, he's got one more card.
That ain't gonna do it.
That's the bad Joker. He was trying to shoot you and force you into the ice slick. But instead, he is going to. Geez, let's see. He's going to shoot his concussion beam. He's going to come up short on the shot, and he's going to create like a ripple in the pavement. That is going to deal a little bit of pace. That's gonna slow his own driver down. He's slowing his own driver down in the process. He misses you outright, so he doesn't force you into the ice, or make it more difficult for you to navigate the ice. You still have to deal with the ice, but he was about to make it more difficult for you. And that's pretty much him, because there goes the bad Joker. Hooray! Is that 3 of the 5 bad Jokers? I think amongst the 5 of us. Because we have not shuffled since, because we were on the same set of we're on the same set of cards. It's all been one long encounter. So
Actually, I
I
think
guess
that's 2 of the 5.
no, I think we had 2. I think we had 2 last time with you guys. I had 2 botches. Anyway,
I don't know.
let's stop real quick and go back and listen to last week's game session, and we'll reconvene in 2 hours. It's going to be Ollie's turn. You've got an ice patch in front of you. And for the record, for those people who are wondering, the target score for making these maneuvers and everything is based. It's in the rules here. It's based on how many fixed obstacles there are. That sets a target score, and then there's modifiers that bump that up if there's a lot of traffic.
Is there a lot of traffic? Is there any traffic?
I've been calling this some fixed obstacles with light traffic. So it's a target score 9 bumped up by 1. So it's been target score 10 to do stuff.
Now, does the ice give me disadvantage, or is it just a higher target score?
We're going to call it a higher target score.
Okay.
That's something I might need to make a note of here, that there's specific hazards on the road should probably bump the target score.
Play testing, folks.
Yep.
You seen it here first. All right. Well, I think I'm gonna play it safe and just use my agility conveyance to maneuver as best as I can, either around or through the ice in an appropriate way where I don't spin out.
Okay. But you have the added benefit of, this is something that actually contributes to you ending the chase and winning the chase.
Yeah, so I presume that they have to drive through it too.
Well, that's the question. It's like, well, they are all in the vehicle together and might be talking to each other.
Yeah.
They have 2 hazards.
So the other driver has to either drive through it themselves, or they know that this is coming and they're going to have to they're going to circumvent it. But if you do well with your check, that's going to cost them some of their pace.
Yes. All right. So let me find out how well I do. I'm not using anything fancy, so I should have all 4 cards to pull. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. What's with these 4s? Jeez.
One more 4.
Queen of Spades. I'm gonna stay there. I think that'll do it for me.
Okay.
So Can I give it some flavor?
Sure.
I'm assuming that's a success there. So when I hit when I see the ice patch coming, instead of trying to maneuver around it, I kind of see a side road that happens to be that way and hit the wheel just right so that I turn before hitting the ice patch. My back wheels catch it and spin me outside, kick me outside, and spin me around into the next road down the street. And I just turn down a side street.
You spin.
That's
Grabs
badass.
The door and freaks out.
You spin out and make your swing around. Kieran's turn.
Kieran pulls out his pistol and aims it at, was it Lizzie? Was the ice
Yes.
person? Yeah.
The ice
Kieran pulls out his
ice
pistol
person.
and
Are you nice? The ice person.
ice person.
The ice,
Okay.
ice queen.
She's been demoted from queen to person.
Dethroned.
Usurped.
That poor woman.
First one is 8 of clubs.
This is the woman who torched her a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I thought she was a little too frosty for me.
Wah wah.
Eight of diamonds, best I got.
And sorry, this was to do what again?
Shoot her.
To shoot.
I'm aiming. I look in her direction. I lock eyes with her, and I shoot at her.
Was that with disadvantage?
It would have been the 6, I think, if it was disadvantage. If you aim at a person in a car, it's automatically a disadvantage.
Oh, okay. Then, okay, yeah, I would have missed then.
Okay.
Unless you use a moxie to get that other card.
I'm just checking because I know we've all, you know, it's we are all not used to dealing with the, you know, everybody being at
Okay.
disadvantage because
The-
usually
the-
when you guys shoot at people, everybody's right out in the open.
Right. The 6 would be with the Moxie.
Oh wow. You were
Yeah.
really low. Okay, so yeah, I guess you're gonna eat that miss.
But it activates the thing.
That's true. She goes diving for cover, or she will at least when it's her turn.
Yep.
The goons go. The driver starts to he runs into the ice and starts to skid. And the two goons
So
that.
how did I deal with the fire before that?
Oh well, I mean he's like, trust me, just hang in there. Right. Thank you for the reminder of the fire, but trust me. The two goons are gonna take shots at Fire Lady. They're both shooting at you, Rose. They just are. There we go. That's gonna be 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. 7 hits.
Okay, definitely using a moxie to break it down then. Yeah.
And it's a good Joker, so that takes you from 7 down to 3. You take 3.
Ah.
And they get another action. And they shoot at you again. And that's going to hit, where the queen is going to do 3, 4. 4 hits to you.
Oh my
And
gosh.
another Moxie. Might want to spend another Moxie.
I'm getting ready with my other shooter, because that was just the first shooter.
Rose is going to spend a lot of her moxie doing this.
That takes you down to 2.
Okay.
And the second shooter, that's going to hit you for 7.
No.
Yeah!
My moxie.
That takes you only 5. It deals 5.
And Rose is dead.
Are you dead or just unconscious?
No, I only had 4 hits left. I'm dead.
Nope. Here's how this game works, because we haven't seen this come up in the game. I don't decide if your character dies. One of two things. You have a choice to make now. Rose, you can choose to have your character get knocked out, knocked unconscious. It would depend on the situation. In this case, you're in a car speeding away, so probably just knocked unconscious, right? But it could also be like temporarily kind of removed from the scene somehow, kind of get get dragged away, whatever. You might a character might get kidnapped and captured for a while, and when at the point where you come back, you'll come back with some penalties, and you'll have to deal with all of that. You get to choose to do that, or you can decide, no, my character is going to die, and you get one more round to do whatever it is you want to do, and you will go out in a blaze of glory, or very tragically, not fulfilling whatever it was you were trying to do. So it is up to you. Before I resolve and tell you what happens with the driver, what happens to Rose?
Alright, I must say, at the loss of blood, Rose faints. She has quite a few holes riddled in her body now.
And she's out of the fight. At that point, the driver rolls, swerves to avoid the fire in front of him, and manages, was actually trying to avoid the ice in the first place, but then fire popped up in front of him. Rose doesn't get to see any of this, of course, because she's fainting in the back seat. The fire causes him to shift his car to back into the ice, which he then hits, and then it's at this point that I apply the drain that Eli just, not Eli, but Ollie just did in his last round, and he skids the car out in the ice, and the group of you peel away into the, not into the night, into the day, into the noonday sun. And you get away as the car that was pursuing you skids out and crashes into, let's say, an Apple stand, because it's the 20s. Like some little kid and his father were out there selling apples on the sidewalk, and they had to go.
And you ruined their family business forever.
Yeah, you destroyed their family business. There's apples everywhere.
Well, they're lucky there wasn't two men walking a pane of glass across the street.
Even better that it's not a cabbage cart instead.
And
maybe raising a piano up the second floor.
Yeah, exactly. Or if this was set in Hollywood, it would be carrying the fake scenery across.
Yep.
You think your road is clear, I can just drive right through there, and then you punch through it. But that was the chase, you guys, because Ollie had two very, very good checks. So between that and some of the a little bit of incidental stuff, you punch through that pretty quickly, and off you go, speeding away in your Model T that has a bullet hole or two in it. Might be.
Imagine there's no more glass in it anymore.
Well, you guys, one window's shattered. There's a couple bullet holes in it. You might be able to fix all of that for a reasonable price if you get the right person to do it. Just as far as dealing with,
as good as new.
Bring the car back to your stevedore buddy, and it's like, here you go. And he's like, hey, what the heck is this? But you guys peel away. Rose is unconscious. The group of you, what do you go? What do you do? What do you do? Where do you go? Giuseppe is trying to wake her to no effect.
Would feverishly be trying to apply first aid to Rose, trying to patch her up however he can.
Okay, so you're checking all of her injuries, making sure that she's not bleeding out, underneath.
Yeah,
you roll her over and look, make sure that there's not some gaping wound somewhere that you can't see, and that she's just.
He's taking off his coat. He's ripping strips of it, trying to
Meanwhile, Ollie is still laughing like a madman up there at the wheel, just cannot believe we got away.
I'll be next to you, and I'm just doing the same, just standing there, just. What?
Woohoo!
Ollie, get us out of Chicago. Head south.
Aye, Captain.
You know where we can go?
I know a place.
Is Rose be okay?
Everybody all right back there?
She'll be fine. Everyone's gonna be fine. We're all fine. That's the important thing.
Oh, okay. Ollie,
Kieran's
you...
like whispering under his breath, please be okay. Please be okay. Please be okay.
Oh, it's adorable.
Just like Ollie, you are amazing. How you drive like that? You save us.
I want to think of something clever to say, but I really got nothing right now. No, he just keeps driving. He laughs a little bit.
She'll like
Does a little crosses himself and throws out a Hail Mary.
Just the Troca and Ollie are gonna have to do something later on in the.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, Rose was
The Joker
away.
might have already been fulfilled from that ride.
I'm shuffling everybody's decks. That's at the end of that. You guys can keep talking amongst yourselves. Figure out what you're planning to do.
Moxie?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
I'm just gonna get.
If Rose was awake, she'd definitely be like hugging Satroka, patting Ollie on the shoulder, and being like, "I'll buy you a drink. It's somewhere safe." And then maybe looking at Kieran and being like, "Oh, so sweet that you're so thoughtful and caring about me."
How long does an unconscious person stay down for? Is that up to the person?
Whatever is. Basically, she needs to. She basically comes back with one hit when it's dramatically appropriate, like after she was out of the combat, right? It's narrative. Now that being the case, she's at one hit, so that she needs to regain that, and that's going to take some time to get back to to full hits. Anybody else who's hurt, like usually when we've had a combat with you guys, it's you've had a few people have taken a few hits, and then we usually tend to there's been time that has passed, so we haven't really talked about it too much. But for anybody who's down any significant amount, if something were to go down right away again tomorrow, we do have to account for how much she how many hits are restored overnight.
Okay. So
how's everybody?
Ollie...
Satroka's a little beat up.
Yeah, she got shot in the leg. So I think she's just adrenaline pumping through her the whole time, and I don't think she's really paying attention. So,
For once, Ollie didn't get hit.
Yeah. Well, she'll end up in the front, with Ollie, and she'll kind of curl up on him, and then I think after a while just kind of sort of doze off, not really, but she lost some blood too, so she's kind of, and he might notice the big pile of blood on her leg.
Big pile.
It's a pile. But it's not.
Scoop that pile up,
there.
toss it out.
Yeah.
Moxie, for everybody for the encounter, does anybody have anything fun for their based on their identity, vice or virtue? Reckless. Ollie, you're full up,
I'm
so
full,
you didn't spend any Moxie. You were
I didn't use any.
you were making drive checks and spending chase points.
Moxie, have a new experience.
That's
So definitely.
your very first car chase. There you go.
Very first car chase.
I don't think I gained any extra experience for fainting.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Part of your penalty is gonna be not getting. You got the one for the encounter itself, but you're gonna not gain any more because as part of your penalty, and you are at disadvantage on everything you do until further notice.
All right, great.
So you're down one card on everything. Kieran, anything up your sleeve?
I don't really feel like his vice is vengeful. I can't really see how he got vengeance on anyone. I mean, he's gonna be getting vengeance on Ice Queen. That's coming, but not at the moment.
Okay, so we'll
And
save off on that particular
I
Moxie.
don't feel like he was particularly reliable in that fight either.
Okay. All right. Well, that's where we're at. We don't all have to be maxed out like some people. So what are you guys up to? You've got you've gotten Rose up and about again. She's your wobbly Rose, your woozy wobbly, all that kind of fun stuff. And Giuseppe is very relieved, and is basically cradling you in his arms at this point, and is very happy that you're okay. He's been kind of quietly, almost like he's almost praying. Not really like there was no Jesus that entered the what he was saying, but he was kind of very quietly. He's like, please, please, please. This young woman risked her life for me, and she didn't have to do it. And please be okay, Rose. Please be okay. And his little
So Rose is awake now, and she's being held by Giuseppe.
Sure.
Thing is how she's still woozy. She's gonna pat him on the chest and be like, "It's okay, Dad."
Oh, Giuseppe that's fine. He just lets that slide. So where do you guys go? What do you do?
We're heading south, I imagine, toward Indiana.
Well,
Rockford.
Okay.
Okay. Bit of a road trip.
Kieran has a place that they can go.
Oh, you do you?
I do. We're heading home. Kieran's home.
Is this like the old barn in the Ninja Turtles movie?
Was this
Pretty much.
was this something you had written that I forget about?
I think I mentioned in his backstory that he and his brother grew up on a small farm.
Okay.
And that's, if you want me to spend a moxie on this, I will.
I was gonna say, if it's gonna be a safe enough place, then yeah, let's put a moxie to it so that it actually.
Yeah. The place when you arrive it looks abandoned. There are weeds that are easily 4 or 5 feet tall. It looks like no one's lived here in quite some time. The crops have grown kind of, what crops there are just sort of growing out of control. The house is in a state of disrepair. And you pull up on this old barn house, and Kieran hops
So this
out.
is where you grew up.
Yes, this is where.
Okay, so it's been a long time.
It's been a very long time.
Okay.
Back when Kieran went by another name. And he pulls up and he fishes a key out of his pocket and walks up to the door and unlocks it, pushes it open, and motions for everyone to follow.
The key doesn't work. Doesn't fit the lock. Doesn't turn the lock.
Okay, then Kieran picks it.
Okay. Given enough time, nobody's breathing down your neck.
Mean, I've got a lockpick set.
No, I understand. I understand that, but at the same time, that's one of the things about the game is like, you given enough time, you fiddle around with it and you pick it. You don't need to make a check because there's no like failing to pick the lock is not going to like bring the cops down on top of you or prevent you from getting in. You can always bust the door open if worse comes to worse. You get in eventually. But your key does not work in the lock.
Does the lock look like it's newer? Does it look like it's been changed, or?
It's hard to say. It's been a long time since you've been here.
Okay.
I mean, you were young, yes?
Yeah.
Last time you were here?
Probably like 10. And when Kieran goes to put the lock and it doesn't turn, he looks a little out of sorts. He's like, he does it like 2 or 3 times.
I just said he lived here.
You want me to go inside and open? I don't need. You don't need to pick lock. I can go in and open door.
Okay, yeah, that would be nice.
Okay.
Thank you.
She'll just smoke form. Go inside the house.
Sure.
Under the door, she'll have a quick look around, just like main floor of the house. Does it look like anybody is in there?
Take a quick look around. No, the place is more or less abandoned. It's dusty. There's a bit of furniture, but it looks like either when people moved out, they took all but like the crappy, like they took anything of any real value. They left behind maybe a few pieces of kind of crappier older furniture that are a little bit broken down. It's dusty. No, nobody's been in here for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay, it doesn't look like anybody's been there, so yeah, then I'll just unlock the door.
Unlock the door, and you're able to get in just fine. Yeah, I mean basically it's a deadbolt with just a latch on the inside, lock on the or keyhole on the outside.
And then as soon as I open the door, I'll come back. I'll go back in and start like tidying up. Even though I'm hurt, I'm still gonna do it.
Okay.
And she wants to find a place for Rose to lay down. So.
Okay.
That's
Well,
the first thing she's gonna do is clear off.
the best situation you've got here is like a ratty old mattress that left behind on a bed frame that is it's not even like there's no box spring or anything like that. It's like literally a frame with just like the strung springs with a ratty mattress on top of it. That like literally ratty, like it's been chewed out in some spots.
I'll find is there like in the car? There's often like blankets over the seats and stuff like that. Would there be a blanket? Or
sure, well, you can scrounge up a blanket.
Yeah, I'll scrounge up a couple of blankets and put them on the.
There's a couple.
On the
There's
bed.
in the house here because it's there are a couple stools. There's a table. There's just a handful of household implements that have just kind of been left behind, like old rusty kind of busted up, like I said, the crap was left behind, like anything of any real value was taken.
Yeah, so I'll take whatever I can out of the car and I'll clean up the space for Rose to lay down.
There's no stove. The stove has been removed, but there's a fireplace, like an actual brick fire, hearth and fireplace.
Okay. I'll get a fire started in there.
Okay.
This would be a 3-bedroom house. 1 on the main level, 2 upstairs.
Okay.
I would probably not have bothered.
Probably with
I would have
probably with an outhouse.
Floor one. Yeah. I'll just do the main floor one for Rose right now. So she doesn't have to go up the stairs.
Okay.
Rose is gonna look at Citroka doing so much and be like, "Are you sure you should be working? You have a very interesting wound there."
And pokes at it.
Ollie's gonna
Eventually poke at it, but definitely point towards.
Ollie's gonna help Citroka do all this. Just cause.
Is fine. Fine.
It's not fine.
And also, Ollie's not gonna talk about it. He's just gonna quietly help her do it, even though she argues he's gonna keep going.
She won't. Yeah, she won't stop him. Because she's clearly like in pain and stuff as she's doing this, but she's looks like, nope, fine. She's just gonna keep doing it until she feels satisfied, I guess, enough to sit down.
Okay, well, you get Rose comfortable, kind of get a little bit of a fire going. At this point, just unless I chime in with anything else, Giuseppe's just kind of keeping an eye on Rose, making sure she's as comfortable as possible.
I take the cuffs off of Giuseppe.
Okay, take the cuffs off. There's a well, so you guys are able to get some water from a well outside.
Kieran kind of moves around like he's in a daze. Like he'll if you talk to him, he'll respond, but like he just kind of, it's like he's looking at things that should be there but aren't. And just he's got this weird look on his face, like as he just kind of surveys the scene.
Ollie's gonna walk up and like slap him on the back. It's a nice place you got here. Actually, it's kind of a shithole, but it seems safe enough.
It belonged to someone I knew once. A friend of mine when I was a kid.
Say no more.
That's a lie in case anyone wants to check for it.
I think we know it is. We're just like, sure. That's what you want to tell us.
Yeah, that's
so
the beauty
yeah,
of
we're okay.
the players actually talking to each other in character, is that you don't make checks. You as players just decide whether or not you think he's lying or not. Do you trust Kieran?
I don't, but I trust that if he's not telling
I
me
trust that I don't trust Kieran.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Not up to debate whether or not he's lying.
but then it becomes a question of, like, with some lies, it's like, do you care?
Yeah.
Ollie just doesn't care.
Yeah.
You okay, Kieran?
It's been a very long time since I've been here.
Be like going back to old country.
Yeah.
You have many memory after big day, much of a day of much excitement.
Speaking of which, Ollie's gonna pull a bottle of whiskey out that he had tucked in his coat.
Oh,
I think we all could use a drink.
so much.
I think Rose is gonna attempt to sneak away from the group and up the stairs.
Crawling hand over hand.
Giuseppe doesn't let you out of his sight.
Alright, he's gonna follow me up the stairs. I'm very, very trying to sneak, but not very good at it.
No, not at all.
I'm very visible.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that there's two of you that are leaving. Like, everybody notices.
Yeah.
Where are you going, Rose? Have a drink with us.
You know I don't drink. And I don't think having bullet holes will help me drink any better.
Oh, there's a first time for everything.
No. I've already had my first time. Citroka helped me with that. I don't need to deal with it anymore.
Suit yourself, more for me.
I need much drinking.
Or
She like just finally collapses in the corner and just leans up against the wall and is near the
passing the bottle at this point. It's not cups.
yeah. She'll take a huge drink and just curl up in front of the fire. Like the pain is finally getting to her and she can't pretend that it's not bothering her anymore. And she'll just lay there, being stubborn.
Well, okay, so everybody takes a little bit of time, kind of recovers and winds down from one of the highest stress situations you guys have probably ever been in, at least recently, certainly. I'm gonna take a look at, remind myself of how fast you're getting those hits back. Regaining hits.
While you're looking that up, Kieran is going to reach for the bottle from Ollie and take a very large swig, and then just look at the two of you and ask you, what do you remember of your home, where you came from?
I remember a lot of snow. I remember I always losing my mittens when I am small and my fingers turn blue. Always my mother yell at me for losing mittens.
Probably just big old grin. It was a shite hole. That's what I remember.
But I hungry always. Remember always being hungry.
We didn't have too much ourselves. Whiskey was easy to come by, though.
Yes, Baba make vodka in the barn. I start drinking when I am very young. Because when you are cold, make you feel warm.
Don't miss the rain.
Lot of rain?
It rained more often than it didn't, let's put it that way. Never really hard, but everything was overcast and dreary. Most of
I'm
the
just
year.
gonna search around the rooms while she's up on the second floor here for anything related to Kieran.
One thing that would probably pop out to her right away is right at the top of the stairs. There is a picture of a man probably in his 30s, a woman, and 2 children. The man would bear a striking resemblance to Kieran, except he's probably a little more handsome. He's got more of like a square jaw. Doesn't have as long as a
gonna
nose.
grab the picture off the wall and start walking around. the
You
room.
It-
you
it's
don't
one of those, like-
you don't find a photograph.
Oh, there's no photograph? Okay. Interesting.
Rose, you're looking around, and in one of the rooms you find in a closet. Actually, it was up on the hat shelf of the closet, and you just barely glimpsed it. Actually, we'll say Giuseppe is taller than you, and you were looking around. You kind of popped your head in each of the closets. Giuseppe noticed that he pulled down from up in the top of the closet, up on the hat shelf. There's a really like it's the only thing in this house that's actually in relatively good condition, because it looks like it hasn't been played with in a very long time. It's dusty, but it's otherwise in good condition. A little teddy bear, like a 1920s style. And when I say teddy bear, it's like it's not super stuffed and fat and puffy and like huggable. It's like it's like this thick. Like if you lay it down, it's like like it's probably literally got like goose feathers in it.
Gonna take a hold of it and kind of like snuggle it. She's definitely out of it still, but she's not that out of it to not know what a teddy bear is.
Sure.
All right.
Why you ask,
Just
Kieran?
being here makes me think about home. We always had plenty to eat, but it was hard work. A lot of hard work.
I was
You
gonna start
have
heading
farm?
back to the room.
By this point, Kieran's taken a couple.
Oh yeah, I'm getting pretty hammered by now. Yeah.
He's getting probably the most hammered he's ever been.
And so Ollie pulls out the second flask.
Yeah.
And when you,
No, these are.
what,
The Troca
I was gonna say when you say flask, you mean like a
I never said flask. I said bottle.
bottle. Okay,
This is a fifth.
okay, gotcha. Just running around with a.
Oh yeah, and I keep vodka in my secret pocket.
No,
So.
it was stashed in the car. I brought it in with me.
Of course you do.
And,
Jeez.
I remember me and my brother Eddie would we'd sneak off, and there's a creek a couple miles from here. We'd sneak off from work and go fishing.
Hmm.
Our dad would catch us. He'd be so mad.
That sounds nice.
I miss Eddie.
I was just gonna sit down with the group and be like, so what are we talking about?
I really miss Eddie.
What happened to him?
Didn't know you had a brother.
Had being the operative word.
No. I am
got-
sorry.
He got shot.
Oh no. That is terrible.
And for a moment, he just kind of looks at Giuseppe and just gives him just a hateful glare.
Rose sees this glare
I
between
know it.
him and Giuseppe.
Giuseppe's not reacting because he's actually still kind of paying attention. He's listening, but he's paying attention. He's looking at Rose.
I know it wasn't you, but
Now Giuseppe looks to you.
someone just like you.
And Rose is going to take Giuseppe by the shoulder and lead him outside because now she doesn't want to deal with this conversation. She's going to throw the teddy bear at Kieran because that's what she does.
Okay, she flings the teddy bear at Kieran, stomps out with Giuseppe. Kieran, you've never seen this teddy bear in your life.
Whose teddy bear is this?
Are you sure we're in the right house? Looking around like.
No, your father was a straight-laced farmer guy. Like, do your work kind of. You had toys, but they were, like you had erector sets and things like that. Like you had, blocks and, like you didn't have anything fluffy and
Sentimental.
Kieran's father probably made him read. Like he probably had a book, like one book.
Oh, there might have been a few, sure, but yeah, he
would have. Yeah, his dad was all about the hard work, so.
Yeah, but neither you nor Eddie never had a teddy bear.
Kieran's gonna walk upstairs. He's gonna look to see if there's anything else he doesn't recognize.
You take a walk upstairs. Does anybody go with him?
No, Ollie's gonna sit back and drink.
No, there's a surprise.
Yeah, I'm like using Ollie as a pillow at this point.
Okay.
I imagine we'll probably both be asleep by the time he gets back downstairs.
If Rose was in the house, she would have gone with him, but she's not now.
Kieran walks upstairs, takes a look around, and a lot of it looks very familiar. Like it looks odd because it's so empty. You're used to it. Like you guys, as a child, you never had a lot of things, but you did have a room. There was a bed and furniture and clothing, and there was a handful of toys, and like you said, you had books and so it does look odd because it is so empty. It's been a long time since you don't recall ever seeing it look like this because all of your memories are of when this was a proper home,
Right.
with all the all the parent stuff and all the kids stuff, all the family stuff, all the things that make a home. And you're looking around, and you're outside. There's a little closet in the hallway, and then the two bedrooms, and the little closet between the two rooms. And it was on that, on the wood trim of that closet, was where your mother did the traditional, nicked off the little spot every year on your birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And then carved like carved little initials. I'm not going to say what those initials were, but carved like little initials for the two kids.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw like as they grew older, and with like the initial with the year, with their birthday year, and you're looking at that closet with that trim, and there's no markings, there's no nicks, there's no letters, there's no ages that have been carved into the wood.
Kieran's still got like the teddy bear, and he's been carrying it like a small child at this point.
Regressing a little bit.
Well, he just looks at this teddy bear, and he walks down the stairs, and he's gonna walk out to where he's gonna look for Rose. If he can find her.
Okay, yeah. I mean, Rose is outside. I'm assuming you didn't wander off too far. I mean, Giuseppe really wouldn't let you wander too far.
Oh, yeah,
The last thing he
no.
wants is you just like
Giuseppe
you and your
would let me,
woozy
walk
days, like
towards the
woo.
field.
Let's just wander around. Let's go find the creek he talked about.
Giuseppe would let me walk towards the car and then turn me around and be like, no.
Yeah, you start wandering, and he
No,
just
no,
he
I
just
don't
steers
anyway.
you. He just takes you gently by the shoulders and steers you, and just kind of keeps you walking in a circle, essentially.
So Kieran walks outside with this bear in one hand.
Yeah.
Seeing Rose walk in a
Sort of-
continuous circle.
Sort of walks over towards Rose. Who did you get that gun from? And can you get a hold of them again?
Which gun are we talking about?
You know what gun I'm talking about.
The ice?
The special gun.
The fire one?
Either gun.
Okay, well, I don't know where I got the ice one from because I'm basically taking off my body.
Okay.
But the fire one, I made. So. I'm sorry, I really have no clue how to help you with this part. But I'll definitely take the teddy bear.
You can have it. It's not mine.
Where did you go in Illinois?
Rockford.
Okay, so that's west of Chicago.
That's like, yeah, kind of southwest.
It's straight west.
Okay.
I was double checking because you said south. And I just wanted to make sure I knew where you were, because I'm also keeping track of, like, you guys. It's a little ways out of Chicago, and your Model T
Yeah.
doesn't exactly travel fast. So you guys, this is several hours later. Just
yeah.
kind of keeping that in mind, just for for information for everybody. This is like, a fair amount of time has passed, so everybody's actually anybody who's down hits has gained a couple of hits at this point.
How many?
A couple.
Okay, great.
Yeah, one per hour of just like doing nothing, like of like no strenuous activity kind of thing. And you effectively gain the rest back overnight pretty easily. That's the nature of this game. It's you regain your hits relatively quickly because it's a supers game. So yeah, back outside, you've got Kieran with his teddy bear, or not his teddy bear. Dun dun dun.
Rose is gonna hold the teddy bear in her hand and be like, okay. She's gonna hand it to Giuseppe for a minute, pull out her wallet, and give Kieran $10. And this is the wallet that she got, so.
Why are you giving me money?
Cut. Even if it's not your teddy bear, it's still a teddy bear that was found within your home. Therefore,
Yeah.
if you're going to give it to me, then I'm going to give you something in return for it. And I don't really have much to
You're
give.
not.
Right? No.
You don't get it. You don't get the thing. This isn't my house. This was never my house. I don't know whose house it is.
Alright.
And he's almost like crying at that point when he says that. He's like,
Rose
I
is
don't-
gonna wrap her arms around him and be
I
like,
don't know whose house this is.
it's okay. It's okay.
And then Kieran throws up.
Oh, nice.
Right, like almost on her shoes.
Ugh.
We cut to inside the house, where Ali and Satroka are passed out in each other's arms, or chatting, or still drinking, or what's going on?
Mostly asleep, but I think eventually she'll like kind of be, have to deal with her wound. And she'll like, clean it off a bit.
Sure.
Pour some whiskey on it.
Yeah.
It-
You
It wasn't as bad as it looked at first. It
Yeah.
needs to be cleaned up and taken care of, but it's not a mortal wound by any means.
Of course, some
Oh.
whiskey on it. Ollie rips the sleeve off his shirt and uses it like a
Just out of
bandage.
nowhere,
Aw.
Ollie pours whiskey on her wound without warning.
Gets a big smack in the face.
you you think we keep doing stuff like this?
Like this? I hope we don't get shot too much more than this. The car chase was a bit fun, though.
It was most exciting thing happened to me in a long time. I kind of like,
It's
but
kind of a
also,
thrill, isn't it?
but also I was scared for you.
You want to know a secret?
Hmm.
So was I. Ollie is really drunk right now. He's not using his power to detoxify. He is just getting hammered.
You don't act like you are scared.
That's the secret. You just keep going.
That is what I always do, but I never have anybody else I care about to be worried for. Always is just me, and always I just worry if I get caught. That is all. But now I worry for you.
He lets out a big yawn. No need to worry anymore, dear. We got protection on our side from the Lord Almighty. Everything's gonna be okay. And he just kind of leans back and starts to pass out.
Yeah, she'll curl up on him and use him as a pillow and pass out.
All right, the two of you pass out like middle of the afternoon, or well, the
Yep.
dinner time ish. By the time you get yourself good and schnickered.
After the adrenaline rush and the alcohol.
Oh yeah, well yeah. I
uh,
mean, this has been a very exciting day. You spent a few hours this morning being all nerved up, and then you went into the courthouse, and then got into a chase, and then spent probably the entire drive out here being worried before you finally got here and were able to actually relax. So yeah, you
Sure.
spent 6 or 7 hours just being wound really tight. That takes a lot out of you. So what is up with Kieran and with Rose?
I'll be right back.
Well, Rose is slowly going to pass Giuseppe, Kieran, try to avoid the noticeable barf on the ground.
Kieran just kind of kicks some dirt on it.
Take the
Dirt
bear
everywhere.
and then suggest that everyone move back inside for maybe an hour. Because everyone seems tired and stressed.
Yeah, by the time you get back inside, though, the other you find Satroka and Ollie, who are kind of nodding. They've nodded off. Ollie with the whiskey bottle still with a few swigs left in it, kind of in his hand, and it's balanced. It's kind of tilted precariously, and he's barely holding on to it. Like if he shifts once in his sleep, he's gonna drop it and spill it.
Well, I'm gonna grab the whiskey bottle out of his hand and possibly pour it on whatever wounds I have.
Clean up and everything, sure.
You know, just try to disinfect what I can at this point in time and then clean it up tomorrow.
Kieran?
Kieran would probably try to help Rose clean up her wounds as best he can. And then he'd kind of like side-eye Giuseppe a little bit and be like,
Rose will quickly pat.
I'm sorry what I
Kieran's
said.
face.
I'm sorry what I said earlier. That was unfair. You didn't do anything. I know you didn't.
He
I'm sorry.
He just kind of nods at you.
Well, we've all had a stressful day, I believe. So
The rest of you.
I'm gonna go find a place to sleep that isn't down here with the
All right.
Brady Bunch.
You find a place to get as comfortable as possible. Kieran, do you get some sleep as well?
Yep.
Okay, so you kind of wind out the day. You do the best you can. You sleep. Um, everybody at this point, you'll regain your hits overnight.
Regain our hits? Okay.
Yeah, and the next morning rolls around. The sun comes up. There's no curtains or drapes or anything on any of this on the windows, so the sun is in the farmhouse very quickly in the morning at a nice low angle, just boom right in the house, and you are all exceedingly hungry, having not eaten for 24 hours. And what are you gonna do? What's next? What's the plan as we prepare to wrap things here? And what's gonna happen next session?
Well, he did say there was a well. Like I'll go outside and look for fresh water.
Yep.
That sort of thing. So make sure
Anybody who wants to gorge themselves on water to help a little bit with the
oh yeah.
with the hunger can do that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna borrow the well and its fresh water to clean myself.
And you can clean yourself
before
up and
looking for
everything. Yep.
actual food.
But what time of year is it?
It's chilly. You had a fire overnight. You kept it going. Yeah. But it's autumn. It hasn't snowed, but it's
okay.
It's not going to be too long. It's going to snow.
Apple trees and stuff for that. We'll go looking for that maybe soon. Yeah. Start with the water. But...
we'll say you scrounge like a few apples off of a not well tended, like a tree that's just grown wild and has just managed to, have a few apples on it without like really hasn't really been taken care of very well. But it'll fill your stomach.
I'm gonna look for wild chickens and wild chicken eggs.
You're not gonna find any of
that. Kieran looks over at Ollie and says, "Do you want to go hunting?"
I suppose we could do that. Do you have a plan? Is there a town near here? Can we just go to a diner?
There's not a diner, but there's a gas station, general store. Maybe
That'll do.
5-6 miles down the road.
I'm not opposed to hunting, but that sounds a lot easier.
Is hunting, you must have cleaning and preparing and tools.
Yeah, I know how to do all that.
But
let's just go buy something.
Right.
We have the car, let's just go buy something. And what is the plan way the hell out here? Are we going back home anytime soon? They don't know who we are, they don't know where to look for us, I imagine.
Oh,
Ice Lady might, but
Ice Lady knows exactly who we are.
Does she know where we hold up?
She won't know about this place.
That is dependent upon how much.
I meant Maggie's. Does she know about Maggie's?
I just look over at Giuseppe. I go, I don't know. How much does she know?
It's really dependent to how much has been told about us. At this point in time, we don't know.
Giuseppe says, "Well, I didn't have her go after you, do anything. After that night at the warehouse, I let you go on your way. You took care of the business. I was happy with that. But it's been, weeks since that. She was undercover. She may very well know more about you."
Did you ever talk about Rose around her or mention anything?
Well, in the days following the group of you being at the, when you came to the warehouse, we talked about you having been there and what had all gone down and the favor that you did for us. But I didn't go into it. I didn't discuss our history.
She even watched me and Petroka clean up the body, which may be an issue.
Well, either way, we can't stay out here. We've got if she knows about Maggie's place, then we've got to look after her somehow. And we've got plenty of people depending on us back in the city. We can't just abandon them now, or what good was the whole deal in the first place?
But by the same token, if they're looking for us, we have to let the heat die down at least a little, or do something to distract them, get their attention on something else to forget about us. Because I guarantee we're going to be making the front page with our little stunt.
Rose takes off.
It's not every day that someone.
Throws it in the well.
We've got the Fed's attention now, ladies and gentlemen. So the only way that we're going to get that attention off of us is if we distract them with something else.
Well,
or something else happens.
I have an idea. It might depend on if you have any connections to, since you seem to know somebody everywhere, would you happen to know anybody in the hospital or the morgue that can get us a couple of cadavers?
That's creepy.
Let me explain myself. We stage them up in the car, we put a few more bullet holes in it, and we drive the whole damn thing off into the river. Make them think we got away, but lost control. Fake our death, whatever. At least fake Giuseppe's death. Maybe we got out, there's one body in there. Or at least get them looking for something else.
We need at least two.
Fair.
One for Giuseppe, one for Rose.
But are you able to get something like that? I mean, you seem to be the man with all the connections.
I mean, with enough money, you can get whatever you want. And I have a substantial amount of money on me.
Giuseppe says, I know where you can get dead bodies.
Yeah, no.
This guy knows.
No.
This guy knows.
No.
I just extend my hand towards Giuseppe. Sure.
No.
To be fair, Kieran, you may have to buy a new car since we're going to be totaling this one. So maybe keep the purse strings a little tighter.
Well, I mean, we could always borrow some money from Rose.
Well, that's
She's good
on
for
another
it.
thing. Okay. You're not dealing with the morgue and the dead bodies and all that shit. I'll deal with that shit. You
Okay.
focus on getting a new car for this poor person. We're gonna blow up the car out.
Sounds like the cleaner is gonna come up with something.
The cleaner's
Why
gonna clean up this place.
Why do we need a new car? We use the one they've already shot up.
Yes, I know. But
Oh,
your
you mean to
friends have
replace
wanted
it?
a new
Yes.
car.
Yes, we do have to replace the car with something better was the deal.
Of
I
similar
have to
cars.
replace. No, I have to replace it with something better. That was the deal.
Okay, well,
Something
here's what I want to know then. Do you guys want to, rather than belaboring this like in the video cast here, do we want to have like figure out what the exact plan is for covering this up or misdirecting or whatever it is you're going to do? We can kind of handle that. You guys can figure that out in between now and the next session, and then we can dive into implementing whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah.
And are you staying here for the time being, or are you going somewhere else for the time being? Are you staying at the farmhouse?
I don't mind staying here for a couple of days, but she would insist if we are going to stay here for a couple of days, going into town and buying, supplies.
Supplies of food, yeah.
Sure.
Rose is gonna suggest the same thing, that if we're staying here, we should go and purchase some stuff. But she's gonna state, like, thoroughly, we need disguises if we're going anywhere, at least.
Mm.
Well,
So
we brought a change of clothes with us.
Yes,
Yeah.
we brought a change of clothes with us, and Rose brought her wigs. So if anything, her and Citroka can go and throw on a wig or
I was
two.
gonna throw on a wig.
You're gonna have to scoop the blonde one out of the
I mean, unless here's the situation. You guys are like 50, 60 miles out of Chicago.
Nobody knows.
It
us
is
out here.
very unlike. I mean, if anybody knows you're out here, you should be having that firefight with them right now,
Yeah.
because that means that they followed you. If you're out here for a day or two, then you're probably at least for a while
We'll be
you're okay. But you are able to go into town, get some food, get changes of clothes, get whatever, get what you need to clean up and make sure that nobody's everybody's injuries are handled. Spend some incidental money of the a few $1,000s that you people walk around with, and do that in Rockford. While you're there.
What do you mean you can't break 100?
While you are there, a day from now, you're in a general store buying some supplies, and they've got the big old timey radio on, and you hear the news report. They are in Chicago, reporting from Chicago, talking about a daring jailbreak at the Cook County Courthouse a couple of days ago. So yeah, this is 2 days later. They are still talking about this.
I'll listen closely to see if they say anything complimentary about his driving on the radio.
They paint all of you as one step down from Capone dangerous.
Rose is so flattered.
He's gonna elbow Sachoka. You hear that? We're rolling with the big dogs now.
Oh.
Rose is gonna try and listen in case they actually say her name or even give a description of her. So.
And the news report does talk about how the police and the feds have several leads, and they are investigating known associates or supposed associates of the criminals who broke another criminal out of the courthouse. So.
Well, there goes our business association.
You don't know that necessarily. I'm just throwing it out there that there are things happening back in Chicago while you guys are out here. So for the time being, I think we'll wrap this. You guys can give some thought to how you want to approach now that you kind of know that if things are happening back in Chicago, that you can decide how you want to try to, like you said, cover something up or misdirect or do whatever it is to help yourselves in the situation that you're in right now, and figure out what you're going to do with Giuseppe too. I know that was an initial thought that you guys were talking about, what ultimately what is Giuseppe going to do? I mean, you guys are all wanted too, but he was already, he's in the same boat, even more so to the point that he was actually denied bail. So now he's got multiple charges of what he was accused of in the first place, as well as escape, as well as essentially leaving the city. So he's, there's all sorts of bail issues that, or lack of bail that he was dealing with. So he's, the charges against him have escalated at this point. So I guess we'll figure that out for the next session. Thank you everybody for joining us. We'll see what happened back in Chicago. Maybe, I guess, in the next session. We'll see what happens, what these guys decide to do. You got a little bit of planning to do between now and then, and we'll call this a game, everybody. Thank you guys for coming on out.
Thank you for running.
That went swimmingly.
Thank you.
Car chase was fun.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.